gentlemen, this is the official 2022 Minecraft Mob Olympics. Our participants today will represent several walks of life and will definitely be pumped for what is surely going to be an event for the ages. The favorites are the Vindicator, the Enderman, and the Warden. But the biggest underdog has to be the Villager, a mob who is practically useless at everything. But in this perfect storm of events, you never know what might occur. So, without further ado, I present the 2022 Minecraft Mob Olympics. The first event was always going to stir up the competition. It's Death Boxing, featuring a cold-blooded battle to the death performed by some of Minecraft's fiercest enemies. Yes, this didn't pass the ethics board, but do I care? Absolutely not. First, it's the zombie and the skeleton, and even though the skeleton could just run around the ring and use its bow to keep the zombie away, it elects instead to just, well, stand there like it's just experienced extreme trauma. And the zombie clinches the first points of the Olympics. Even though the skeleton is dead, it was already kind of dead, so it had already lost, by default. Why even bother entering the event? I don't know, it's not like they have a brain or anything. The following bout sees the Spider, a unique mob in shape and attack style, take on the Blaze, which seems slightly unfair due to the Blaze's, well, capabilities. But nevertheless, here we are. The Spider jumps in aggressively, as if it was raring to go from the start, but well, it's been purely embarrassed by an uninterested Blaze, who defeats the Spider so easily, it's as if you took a simple step and murdered his entire family tree. I guess they're angry and all, but like, you didn't have to be so mean, sir. He has, or I guess had, a wife and kids. Following on from that demolition, we have the Piglin, or the zombified pigman, due to dimensional reasons of course, and the Enderman, who looks just as out of place in the boxing ring as I probably would. This fight was started viciously by the Enderman until, well, okay, let's try this again. And here we go for round 2. The Enderman just sprints up to the clearly terrified Piglin and wipes the floor with him. Another ranged fighter falling embarrassingly short. Even though I'm letting them away with blatant cheating by bringing a bow into the arena, they still get their asses handed to them. The Enderman with an impressive performance though, as we move on once again to, in my opinion, the most hotly contested bout in the whole event. It's the Vindicator versus the Iron Golem. Despite the size difference, the Vindicator is incredibly strong, and I really think that this could be a... Oh, right then, okay. The Iron Golem is either taking drugs to be this strong, or the Vindicator hasn't been to the gym since the 18th century. Either way, the Iron Golem comfortably wins, and shows his strength in an otherwise tight group of mobs. Even with multiple Vindicators, the Iron Golem makes quick work of them. I must say, I'm impressed that the Lump of Steel has moves like that. Next up is the heavyweight bout in this year's Olympics, the Warden versus the Ravager, both of which will be looking to assert dominance over the other in this hotly anticipated battle. The Warden sniffs and begins his approach, and with his fluid boxing skills that he must have been training for all his life, the Ravager barely even puts up a fight, getting cleaned out, which may set the tone for the Ravager's whole tournament. We'll have to see. Upon winning, the Warden runs straight to the ropes to celebrate his victory in style, and he's earned it. But now, ladies and gentlemen, the main event of the evening! It's the Villager, it's the Creeper, and it's about to happen right in front of your very eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself for the boxing match to end all boxing matches. Literally, there isn't going to be a ring left to box in after this. Unbelievable. Who on God's green earth could have predicted this? The Creeper appears to have self-combusted and both blown up the Villager and itself in the process. But who remained alive for the longest? If we slow down the footage, it's actually the Villager who emerges victorious in the end, surviving for a couple of frames more than the Creeper. So, in the biggest upset since Dream's face reveal, it's the Villager taking home the point in this event. A quick look at the scoreboard before we move on with some surprise victories and some surprise losses. Let's see who can claw back the lead. Moving into the Winter Olympics momentarily, we now have speed skating, an event that's sure to put the competitors on high alert, especially the Ravager. Last time it was cold, it ate yellow snow, so fingers crossed it doesn't make the same mistake again. The first lineup of mobs includes the zombie, the skeleton, and the Vindicator, all hungry to add to their points tallies, and also murder me in cold blood. See, for some of these events, to make the mobs run, I had to volunteer myself as a human target for the mobs, which isn't a problem, but made some of the mobs, well, malfunction. In the first leg of the speed skating, we had the Vindicator take an almost immediate lead as the zombie and the skeleton decided to go for round 2. So the Vindicator was the runaway winner, and the skeleton actually won against the zombie, leading to the first ever official Olympic murder of all time, blatantly committed by another Olympian. After the Slimes attempted to perform the hostile protest against their exclusion from this year's event, the skeleton crossed the finish line finally, and signaled the end of a dramatic first leg in the speed skating. 10 points to the Vindicator, 5 for the skeleton, and none for the zombie. Mixing up the table, you love to see it. Progressing on to the Villager, the Creeper, and the Iron Golem, the Creeper had an immediate display of pace and cruised to a very comfortable victory, easily, making it another mob who lost at boxing but won at skating. Next across the line was the Iron Golem, who appeared to be a little, well, distracted by his surroundings. I heard one of the slimes said his girlfriend looked like a ghast. Anyway, the Iron Golem, with some assistance, managed to cross the finish line with an emphatic celebration and left the villager on the circuit alone to attempt to finish. This was all well and good, until I quickly realized that the villager was still at the start and would basically never finish. So he DNF'd. I'm sorry, but if I left him on there any longer, the warden would have got sick of waiting and killed my entire family. I had to do something. Next on the circuit, we have the Ravager, the Blaze, and the Spider, but it became very evident very quickly that the Ravager was out for revenge. And after the Blaze aimed for me and set the oversized cow on fire, it doubled back and sent the Blaze into the Shadow Realm, killing it like it was nothing. It then sprinted to the end with ferocity and power, claiming the win. The Spider, on the other hand, I had to go back for, but it's got its act together and made its way to the end to earn itself 5 points. Oh, that's a double DNF in that heat. Lastly, the Warden is up against the Enderman and the Piglin, and the Enderman gets a blazing start, but from out of the shadows. Sadly, its valiant effort isn't enough, and it just comes a respectable second behind the Enderman. And the Piglin, well, doesn't finish. Just 2 mobs scoreless after round 2, with the villager still hanging in there. You got this, buddy. This next round, climbing, is certainly going to be interesting. Mobs will be timed on how quickly they can ascend this short obstacle course while navigating ladders, preventing fall damage, and generally trying not to game end themselves. First up is the zombie, and despite some trouble navigating the second set of ladders, it clocked in a respectable time. Following on, we have the skeleton, which just decided to shoot me for a while before beginning its ascent. But when it began going, it traversed the course fiercely, but also struggled to climb the final set of ladders, giving a time that could have been so much faster if it didn't want to spend so much time shooting at me. Next up is the Spider, and while remaining a certain favorite for the gold in this event, it caught onto the ladder and I had to get it out from underneath. It obviously didn't realize that the prizes were at stake, and despite this little incident, took provisional first place. The Enderman is another clear favorite, and he shows that no matter how bright the lights shine, he always performs, achieving a blistering time and setting the standard for upcoming mobs. What an absolute demon. Trying to follow that up is the villager, but instead the villager just ran off. No time set for the villager, very disappointing. Even the slime wanted him to succeed. The Piglin followed up with a frankly disappointing performance off the bat, but a string of good climbs from then on, and a brilliant last climb displayed the true ability of the Piglin. Do you reckon it's comeback time? I reckon it's comeback time. The Vindicator is next with a frankly solid run, but the final climb ruined him, killing his time just like he kills me in Minecraft Hardcore. But at least it finished the climb, unlike its half-brother. Shame on you, villager. The Iron Golem, after getting distracted by some slimes, had his whole run stunted before it even began. Yeah, that's right. He couldn't even climb up the first ladder. A very weak showing from a very strong mob. A mob with so much raw muscle that it weighs him down enough that he can't even climb a ladder. What a beast. Speaking yet again about beasts, the Ravager is another mob which is incredibly strong, incredibly fast, but also incredibly stupid and heavy. And so was also unable to climb what appears to be the insurmountable goal of 2 ladders. Without a shadow of a doubt, the most silly thing in all of Minecraft. Attempting to push the boundaries of what mobs can do in Minecraft, the Warden makes history and beats the first obstacle and continues almost flawlessly to set a very competitive time. The strongest and heaviest mob in Minecraft, making the Ravager and the Iron Golem look like absolute losers. It's got an incredible chance of winning this tournament if it continues like this. The Blaze is next, and with the distinct advantage that it can literally fly, it didn't reach the end goal, but it reached the height that the end was at, so I reckon that counts, because it's a race for height, not distance and height, and the Blaze, despite Loki cheating, catches a solid amount of points in this round. Finally, we have the Creeper, seeking to grow its points tally in a slightly different event, but try as it might, the Creeper can't climb ladders because it has no arms, so it just ended up blowing up a bunch of the course and rendering it unusable from then on. Summing up the round, points are tallied like this, as the Warden, the Enderman, and the Blaze claim a lot of points. The battle for first place continues. You don't want to miss the drama, so stay tuned. The 50-meter sprint is next on the chopping block, as the zombie shows its once again average performance. It's almost like Minecraft's default character, just like Joe Schmo. The skeleton, though, is an incredibly pacey mob. It blazed its way through the course and set a thoroughly impressive time. I really think it has a chance of winning here. The Creeper went and was, well, underwhelming to say the least. It just walked slowly to the finish line. It was in no rush. It just knew the power it had, slowly walking me down to try and kill me. But that kind of backfired, and it got a slow time. The skeleton really put it to shame. The Spider also put in a solid performance and flew through the course. No major slip-ups so far, no mobs falling by the wayside completely. Not yet, anyway. The Enderman then stepped up to the plate, a notoriously fast mob due to its alleged Jamaican heritage, and it set a record on the track, taking the provisional gold away from the skeleton and showing its strength in the competition. It really is a close battle for the lead, and one of our fearless gladiators battling tooth and nail for the victory is the villager. Okay, I think that may be wishful thinking, but nevertheless, its turn on the track started and ended with misery. It didn't even move for the finish line, so I nudged it as far as I could, but it just inevitably ran back to the start line. I think it has performance anxiety. Bless it. I now move on to the piglin, who went for me like I was trespassing on his property. He was absolutely, categorically rapid. There's not much else I can really say about it. The Vindicator then stepped up and flew down to the finish line, with every mob putting in an exemplary performance, apart from the villager. I have to admit, I am genuinely disappointed in him. I thought he might have a chance, but no, he's getting his ass handed to him. The Iron Golem steps up next and gets to the finish line, but wait, he just gets there and freezes in place. I actually don't know what happened. It's a simple thing he's probably done thousands of times in preparation for this moment, but on the biggest stage of all, he stumbled at the final hurdle, losing him valuable seconds. The Ravager then steps up and flies through the finish line and grabs itself some well-needed points, attempting to catch up with the Warden and the Creeper. But until then, it'll take every point it can get. Not like it has the best aerodynamics with that forehead, but I think it did a great job. The Warden is also a speedy mob, and unsurprisingly, it achieved an incredible time. I'm really starting to think that this thing has no weaknesses. It's got burners upon burners. It's nimble, it's got insane muscle, and it's a top quality speed skater. Following on, to end the round, the Blaze just kind of sat there. It didn't want to move. It didn't want to run. It just, well, didn't care. It's going to be costing the Blaze very dearly. The scores on the doors are as follows. It's going to be an Olympics to remember, that's for sure. Next is the hurdles, and I attempted several different ways of doing them properly. I tried the fences like this, but none of the mobs were actually able to hop any of the fences. I ended up going for 3 fences at the bottom because it was the best I could do. The Blaze, however, didn't care at all. He decided instead to say screw it and went underneath the whole course, aiming to cross the finish line before dying in the void. Is he going to make it? Despite being several blocks below the finish line, I reckon he got half a toenail onto there, and therefore I will award him the completion of the event. However, it's still a really slow time, but still, what an emphatic victory for Blaze kind. Following on from this, the Warden sees the hurdles and laughs under his breath like an anime protagonist, smoking the course so bad that it made me reconsider my life choices. It really is a beast of the Minecraft world, isn't it? The Ravager, once again attempting to beat out the Warden, does a good job of flying through the hurdles and over the finish line. It's extremely fine margins in this tournament as ever, where milliseconds could make the difference between glory and, well, not glory, I guess. The Iron Golem trundled along the track and towards points, but gentlemen, he's done it again. The Iron Golem has a brain malfunction and stops right before the finish and just stares at me like he's just seen a ghost or something. He finally finishes the race and sets a time which leaves a lot to be desired. A disappointing time for the contender, but the Vindicator runs through the course for victory and sets a competitive time once again. This tournament is beginning to heat up. I know it. The tension is building among the leading group and it's incredible to see. Who's going to win it all? I'm sure the Piglin will want to push harder for the victory, and hitting it into the sun is only going to help it. Okay, maybe not, but it'll probably like burning alive anyway. The Villager was next, so I attempted a different strategy with the zombie, and well, it kind of worked, but it's also very much cheating. Even then, the Villager barely even got halfway, and I experienced a lot of second-hand embarrassment dealing with him in this event. Oh wait, surely not. Moving on from the greatest moment in sporting history, we have the Enderman, which seems to have little difficulties compared to the Villager and just toddles over the finish line like it's nothing. He makes the Villager's incredible accomplishments look like a doddle. Moving on to the Spider, he unsurprisingly hops the hurdles with relative ease and leaves an impression on the competition. And then he falls into the sun. The Creeper then steps up to the plate and cruises slowly and steadily to the finish line. Again, not breaking any records, but still, at least he finished. The Skeleton sprints to the end and... oh wait, he's stuck. Yep, he just flung himself off the track, and in my books, that counts as a DNF. You can't just die and expect to get away with it. No points. That's really gonna cost him. I wonder what he's thinking about. Lastly, the zombie flies like the wind in the vast emptiness of space, kind of, and crosses the finish line. The end of the hurdles is upon us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we begin crunch time. These mobs have a good chance of winning, and I'll be honest, I can't call it. Anyone could snatch it. Okay, fine, maybe apart from the Villager, but anyone else could snatch it. This is the cart push, where the mobs have to push a 100 kg cart as far as they can on a track. Genius. The Villager is first to step up to the plate after the incredible performance in the hurdles and achieves a groundbreaking, world-beating score of 3 blocks. This seems like a dreadful score. But the cart is heavy, so don't be surprised if some mobs are inhibited by it. The Vindicator then steps up and cements itself as a mob with muscle as it achieves a respectable score of 13 blocks. A score which will take some beating, but if there's any mob which can one-up the Vindicator, it's the Warden. He steps up and delivers a push so vicious that it actually killed me. Yeah, I don't know if that means the attempt is invalid, but I'm fine with allowing it. After murdering the organizer of the Olympics, the Warden stops the cart with its own damn eyes, then continues pushing the cart down the track. This is almost certainly very illegal, but I can't tell off the Warden because it will genuinely just kill me again. Even after all of this rule breaking, it still achieved a disappointing 11 blocks distance, way off what the Vindicator got. Just goes to show that technique is just as important as strength here, which is cemented further by the Piglin, who smashes the cart down the track and earns a massive tally of 23 blocks distance from the start line, a record so far. How the hell did he put the Warden to shame? The Enderman, despite having biceps the size of peanuts, has a brain the size of an Airbus A380 and follows up a strong initial hit with follow-up shots. And if I allowed it for the Warden, I have to allow it here. Exactly 40 blocks for the Enderman is a very impressive showing. It's just racking up points everywhere. It's incredible. The zombie is up next and nudges the cart as far as possible, which unfortunately only appears to be 10 blocks. But it's only 1 block off the Warden. I still can't get over how poorly he did. It could cost him the whole competition. The zombie did just okay, exactly like every other event he's participated in so far. The skeleton shot me with his bow instead of pushing me, and of course, continued shooting and chasing. Yes, this is real. He ran up the train tracks and pushed the whole cart over the edge. It's 40 plus blocks for the skeleton, and I don't know how a mob which actually has literally 0 muscle on it managed to beat out the entire group of contenders so far. But hey, that's Minecraft, I suppose. The blaze shot me with fire a couple times and actually ended up destroying the minecart, which to be honest counts as an attempt. He got literally 1 block. The fearless protector of the Nether Fortress was beaten by a villager. This guy beat this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, are you not entertained? The Ravager stepped up next and was actually too voluptuous to fit in the pushing chamber, so after a genuinely impressive push, he, well, perished. Oh well, not like it was the first thing to die making this event. A thoroughly impressive 30 block push from the oversized cow, and another reason to believe that this competition is far from over. Finally, we ended with the Creeper, which, well, DNF'd. He blew up the track, and as a result, got no points. How am I supposed to get permission to host this competition again in 2023 if the Creeper keeps destroying all the events? However, as you may have noticed, the Iron Golem and the Spider are yet to go. This is because they've boycotted the event. Yeah, we're really going there. They filed a complaint after the last event about the safety standards. I refuse to budge, because if there's one thing I need for a good YouTube video, it's death. The Iron Golem and the Spider appeared to disagree though, and so here we are. They will therefore receive 5 points each, and won't receive repercussions. I want to keep them in the event, I don't want to just kick them out. This event, however, didn't pass the ethics board, or any board actually. It was voted 499 to 1 against having in the Olympics. However, I was the one vote. And since I'm the organizer, I make the rules. So, this is the free fall, where if you die, you lose. Don't worry, we'll make it work. It'll be funny. The first round has these 5 mobs, including the Ravager and the Vindicator, legends of the Minecraft Mob Olympics. Round 1, 20 blocks. The blocks disappear and the only mob to meet his maker is the Spider. A solid result so far. Round 2, 25 blocks. The Spider is still in because I want to see it in pain. Also dying is the Zombie and the Piglin, which to be honest is about what I expected. The 2 legends battling it out for victory, both still vying for crucial championship points. Who will prevail in round 3, 30 blocks? Despite putting up a good fight, the Vindicator has to face the judgment of God as the Ravager achieves victory and continues its push to the very top. Guys, I told you it would be worth it to stay. But this next round, well, it's probably the most scuffed thing I've ever been a part of. So strap in. Round 1, 20 blocks. The remaining mobs are dropped, and to the surprise of the community of humanity as a whole, the villager dies immediately. No! Round 2, 25 blocks. The 2 mobs which pass away here are the Skeleton and the Creeper, both of which are currently playing for pride, but hey, putting up a good fight, no matter what, may just get you into next year's event, if it goes ahead that is. Round 3, 30 blocks. For the first time, every mob actually survived this round, and got the chance to move up higher. Nice. Round 4, 35 blocks. Still, the mobs haven't died yet. The 4 of them have remained in the fight for the win. I'm impressed, but to be fair, the Iron Golem and the Blaze have been practicing this for years, so it's kind of unfair. Round 5, 40 blocks. The Enderman finally dies, and we are down to 3 mobs. The final 3 all gunning for the gold. The Warden is built different, and the Iron Golem and the Blaze, they're just, well, doing their thing, I suppose. Round 6, 50 blocks. Yeah, they're all still somehow alive after that big of a fall. How haven't they broken their ankles yet? Round 7, 100 blocks. This is as high as I can go without having the Blaze despawn, so it's the final round. And all 3 of them survive the whole event. The Warden, the Iron Golem, and the Blaze all achieve maximum points in a game-changing event, which brings us to what I like to call squeaky bum time. These last two events will dictate who wins and who loses. No repeats, no second chances, two big efforts, and we will have an official 2022 champion of the world. History is about to be made, whether the ethics board like it or not. Diving headfirst into the swimming, we have the zombie kicking things off. Can it be anything other than average? Well, no. It just puts in a meh time and, well, I can't even say I'm surprised. It's just a disappointment at this point. It also turned into a drowned halfway through the event, which is kind of against the rules, but the piglin's been doing it all event, so my hands are tied. I have to allow it. The skeleton again shows that it's got burners and channels his inner Michael Phelps, smashing out a really great time. It's doing so surprisingly well. I thought it would be rubbish, like the creeper who just bobbed along like he wanted me to suffer in his presence. He swims like he's got no arms. Maybe because he doesn't have any arms, but you get my point. Rubbish time for the living bomb. The spider steps up to the plate and tips along the top of the water, putting in a respectable and solid time for himself. He's really outperformed expectations in this tournament and some events, but is it going to be enough to gain position in the end? The Enderman, however, is clearly not the greatest swimmer on the face of the earth because it didn't go into the water. I thought you were supposed to do anything to win, but the Enderman didn't even want to get his feet wet, so he's been disqualified. I can't justify giving him points for swimming when he didn't swim. No bueno. The villager, the worst Olympian of all time, is clearly an incredible swimmer. The performance he put in the pool was nothing short of inspiring and heartwarming. It brings a tear to the eye to see him struggle through every drop of water to make it across the finish line. He really pushed himself. What an alpha. Despite a terrible time, he crossed that finish line to the cheers of millions worldwide. Good on you, Sven. The world loves you. Attempting to follow up that masterpiece of a performance is the piglin, or zombified pigman, which ended up getting stuck at the bottom of the ocean, just like the zombie, but a better start with evidence. However, turning into a drowned helped the zombie slightly, leading to very close times between the pair. The Vindicator is obviously furious at me for no apparent reason, and is so juiced up on adrenaline that it bobbed angrily to the finish line, but did struggle to actually cross the line, so it required some assistance in doing so. I have no idea how none of these events have gone perfectly to plan. Next is the Big Don, the Iron Golem, who achieved a scintillating, jaw-dropping, earth-shattering time of... yeah, it's more just delaying drowning than actually swimming, to be honest. The Ravager is likely just as heavy as the Iron Golem, but it's able to float on water and dashes to the finish line over the water in a decent time. It's just hanging in there collecting solid points, isn't it? The Warden, though... the Warden. It wasted a lot of time sonic booming me, and I didn't see it for part of the run because it had its darkness on me. Also, it killed me, and struggled to cross the finish line, and had a temper tantrum. So it lost a lot of time there, which might cost him in the championship. I guess we're yet to find out. But last up is the Blaze. Well, kind of. See, the Blaze ended up facing some difficulties. When it did eventually dip a toe into the pool, validating his attempt, they forgot to actually leave the pool and just died in the middle of the event, adding to the death counter once again. Has there been an event where nobody has died? The score looks like this, with some close calls in there. It all comes down to this. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for the climax of years of training, of hours of competition, and enjoy history unfold in front of your very eyes. This is the final event, one of my own, and another one which failed to pass the ethics board. I call it the Wolf Pack. It sees our mobs attempt to survive a rabid wolf for as long as it possibly can. Yes, this isn't a joke, and yes, I do want to see this in the Olympics in real life. Paris 2024, I'm looking at you. First up is what has been the underwhelming Blaze, who survived for a decent amount of time. Just the stare of the dog was enough to kill the Blaze though. Brutal. Jose Santiago Maria is evil. The Ravager followed up with one of the strongest times in the round again, a solid, consistent performer throughout the whole event, especially in the latter stages, as the pressure is mounted. The Vindicator then stepped up to the plate and did okay. And the Villager? Well, we all know he stands no chance of actually winning the event. Or does he? No, he doesn't. I'm not pulling that crap on you all. The Spider was next and died in 4 hits. One of the weakest mobs in the competition, and it showed. The Skeleton has been the surprise package in later rounds, but has it done enough to claw back more positions? The Zombie? Well, nobody cares about the Zombie. Will y'all give it a rest? He has no chance. The Creeper dies a horrible death, eaten alive through its crunchy green skin, and it's still coming in the bottom half. All that pain just to do terribly. The Enderman survives for a while, but is it long enough to snatch victory? The Piglin tries to grab some more points, an impressive mob for the Nether's maiden representation in the games. The Iron Golem is too heavy, and it cost him today, but has he done enough regardless of his waistline to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat? And the Warden, the runaway favourite in today's Olympics, can he hold on to his seemingly insurmountable lead at the top of the standings and prove he is the best Minecraft mob to ever grace the game? We will have to find out, but he closes out the Olympics emphatically, earning himself another event with a lot of points, and attempting to maintain what he's earned throughout this event. With all of the ups and downs, with all of the successes and all of the failures, God knows there's been a lot of them, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to reveal the final points tally and announce officially the Minecraft Olympic champion of the year of our Lord Award 2022. So, without further ado, let me begin. In last place, and with a total of 19 points acquired, we have the Villager. I know, it's expected, but I hoped he'd at least get like 3 points tops. So 19 is very impressive. Second last is the Creeper, which did actually surprise me a bit, considering he won the Maiden Olympics. Two of Minecraft's most iconic mobs taking up the last 2 places. 10th place is where the Spider sits, who achieved 32 points, and 9th is the Blaze on 37 points. Now, the next 3 mobs are split by a total of 1 point. 2 are tied on 7th, and 1 got to 6th. And the mob which managed to break into the top half was the Zombie, who beat the Skeleton and the Piglin by a singular point. 5th is the Iron Golem with 47 points. And at 4th, we have the former title holder, the Vindicator, who just missed out on the podium, meaning we have 3 mobs left. And I'll be honest, I reckon this top 3 was predictable, with 2 mobs new to the Olympics and 1 mainstay, who is yet to achieve the crown he has been training for all its life. 3rd place is the Ravager, who achieved a mind-boggling 59 points in this year's event, which is a stupidly good score, but was beaten twice, but there can only be 1 winner. These mobs were consistent throughout the whole event and ended up being split by a mere 2 points. So the wait is over. The scores are in and the world holds its breath. The winner of the official 2022 Minecraft Mob Olympics is the Enderman. Congratulations to the Enderman for winning the event. A stellar performance. And well done to the Warden for putting up a brilliant fight. But this event is the Enderman's. Let's interview him. How does this win make you feel, sir? Oh, well, I guess he started training for next year already. In the meantime, check out this tier list of the best Minecraft mobs in the whole game. It's a great video, I swear. Okay, thanks for watching. Subscribe!